السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. إن الأبرار يشربون من كأس كان مزاجها كافورا. عينا يشرب بها عباد الله يفجرونها تفجيرا. إن الأبرار يشربون من كأس كان مزاجها كافورا. عينا يشرب بها عباد الله يفجرونها تفجيرا. يوفون بالنذر ويخافون يوما كان شره مستطيرا. ويطعمون الطعام على حبه مسكينا ويتيما وأسيرا. إنما نطعمكم لوجه الله لا نريد منكم جزاء ولا شكورا. ويطعمون الطعام على حبه مسكينا ويتيما وأسيرا إنما نطعمكم لوجه الله لا نريد منكم جزاء ولا شكورا. إنا نخاف من ربنا يوما عبوسا قمطريرا. فوقاهم الله شر ذلك اليوم ولقاهم نضرة وسرورا وجزاهم بما صبروا جنة وحريرا. وجزاهم بما صبروا جنة وحريرا متكئين فيها على الأرائك لا يرون فيها شمسا ولا زمهريرا. فوقاهم الله شر ذلك اليوم ولقاهم نضرة وسرورا وجزاهم بما صبروا جنة وحريرا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن للمتقين مفازا حدائق وأعنابا وكواعب أترابا كأسا دهاقا لا يسمعون فيها لغوا ولا كذابا جزاء من ربك عطاء حسابا رب السماوات والأرض وما بينهما الرحمن لا يملكون منه خطابا صدق الله العلي العظيم. تجدید در فرج امام زمان صلوات در را ختم بفرمایید.
Thank you, Brother Akbari, for the beautiful recitation of the Holy Quran. Before I invite Shaykh for the lecture, just a reminder for my dear parents to keep your children with you at all times. Please do use the mother and the father's room if you find that your children are making noise. We are very happy to have Shaykh Azhar amongst us on this blessed day. Let us welcome him with 3 loud salawats. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. ولعنة الله على أعدائهم ومنكر فضائلهم من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Respected elders, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'd like to begin by wishing everyone a blessed Eid, the greatest of all Eids, an Eid that marks not just the completion of a ritual like Hajj or fasting in the month of Ramadan, but a Eid that celebrates the completion of the religion itself. As I was reflecting on what to speak about tonight, I thought it would be beneficial to share some reflections on a ziyarah that was composed by Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, which is known as الزيارة الغديرية. This ziyarah is a ziyarah that Imam al-Hadi recited on the day of Ghadeer as he was paying tribute to Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. So these words are not the words of an ordinary person, right? These words represent the way that a ma'soom pays tribute to the commander of the faithful. And the ziyarah begins in a very beautiful way. If you go through the ziyarah, it takes about an hour to recite the ziyarah, and it is perhaps the most comprehensive breakdown of the virtues of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam summarizes for us the merits and the virtues of Amir al-Mu'mineen. What does he say? Among the things that he says in this ziyarah is Salawatullahi alayk. May Allah's salutations be upon you. Ghadiyatan wa ra'iha wa akifatan wa dhahiba. May Allah's blessings and salutations be upon you continuously and unended and uninterrupted salawat upon you, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. And then what does he say? He says, فَمَا يُحِيطُ الْمَادِحُ وَصْفَكَ. Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, he says, O Ali, the one who praises you, anyone who tries to praise you, they can never encompass your description. This is Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam. And the Imam is not speaking in hyperbole. He's not exaggerating. The Imam is saying that there is no one who can truly capture the totality of Amir al-Mu'mineen's merits and virtues. The one who praises you can never accurately describe you. You know, brothers and sisters, we actually have a narration that is mentioned in Kitabul Kafi, one of the most important hadith collections that we have. And the narration is from Imam al-Sadiq, salawatullahi alayhi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Imam al-Sadiq says, قال بينا رسول الله ذات يوم جالسا إذ أقبل أمير المؤمنين. The Imam, he says that one day the Prophet was sitting, presumably in his masjid among his companions, and Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib passed by. فَقَالَ لَهُ, the Prophet then turns his attention to Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, and he says to him, فَقَالَ لَهُ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ إِنَّ فِيكَ شَبَهًا مِنْ عِيسَى ibn Maryam. The Prophet says to Ali that, oh Ali, there is a similarity between you and Jesus, son of Mary. There is something that you two have in common. And then the Prophet, he says, and by the way, this hadith is found in Sunni and Shi'i hadith references. He says, وَلَوْلَا أَن تَقُولَ فِيكَ طَوَائِفٌ مِّنْ أُمَّتِي مَا قَالَتِ النَّصَارَى فِي عِيسَى ابْنَ مَرْيَمَ. If it wasn't for the fear that I have, that there would be some people among the Muslims, a group from among the Muslims, who will say about you what the Christians said about Jesus, meaning to attribute divinity to you. He says, لَقُلْتُ فِيكَ قَوْلًا لَا تَمُرُّ بِمَلَئٍ مِّنَ النَّاسِ إِلَّا أَخَذُوا التُّرَابَ مِنْ تَحْتِ قَدَمَيْكَ يَلْتَمِسُونَ بِذَلِكَ الْبَرَكَةِ. The Prophet, he says, if it wasn't for the fear that I have that people might exaggerate and attribute divinity to you, I would speak about you in such a way that if you were to pass by a group of people, they would rush and they would fight to take the dust from your feet in order to seek blessings from it. Now, why is this hadith important? This hadith is significant because it highlights that all of the narrations and the reports that we have that speak about the merits and the virtues of Ali ibn Abi Talib, on one level, it's important to remember that much of what was said about Ali was lost. We know, for example, that the Shi'as were persecuted for many generations. In fact, the library of Shaykh al-Tusi, rahmatullahi alayhi, in Baghdad, who was the marji' of the Shia, who had rare manuscripts in his library, it was burned to the ground. Much of what was said was lost. And not only that, here the Prophet is telling us that there is much about Ali that I did not share, because of that fear that you might misunderstand and make a god out of him. So what we have about Ali ibn Abi Talib in terms of reports that speak about his virtues and merits are actually very minimal, considering what actually existed and what was unspoken by the Prophet ﷺ. So tonight, we are speaking about a giant in our tradition. Someone who is so great and who occupies such a lofty position that not only are his virtues unique, but even the titles, the honorific titles that were assigned to him are exclusively for him and no one else. There was once a man who came into the presence of Imam al-Sadiq, alayhi salatu wassalam, and he enters into the presence of the Imam, and he greets Imam al-Sadiq by saying, Assalamu alayka ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. He addresses him by saying, peace be upon you, O the commander of the faithful. You're the Imam of the time. You are the Imam, the leader of the pious. So thinking that this is a title that we can attribute to all of the Imams, he addresses Imam al-Sadiq in this way. Imam al-Sadiq says that no, I don't accept this from you, because this title is exclusively given to Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullahi alayhi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. So Amir al-Mu'mineen, it's not an exaggeration to say that his virtues are too many to enumerate. And then in the ziyarah al-Ghadeeriyah by Imam al-Hadi, there's also another thing to note. So the Imam says, فَمَا يُحِيطُ الْمَادِحُ وَصْفَكَ. The praiser cannot encompass your description. And then what does the Imam say? وَلَا يُحِيطُ الطَّاعِنُ وَلَا يُحْبِطُ الطَّاعِنُ فَضْلَكَ. And the one who criticizes you, O Ali, he cannot diminish your value and your virtue. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, he didn't only have critics. The Imam alayhi salam, he had sworn enemies. Just to give you a sense into how much malice people had for Amir al-Mu'mineen, how envious, how jealous they were of him. For many, many years, for many decades, the location of his grave was concealed. In the same way, we go to the city of Medina and no one knows the exact location of the grave of Sayyidah Fatima alayhi salam. For many decades, the Shi'as did not know where Amir al-Mu'mineen was buried. Amir al-Mu'mineen was buried in the dark of the night by Hassan and Hussein. Secret location. Why? Because they knew, the family of the Prophet, they knew that if the location of Ali's grave was made public, they would have exhumed his grave. Imagine that. They would have dug him out. They would not even have respected the most basic right of a Muslim, which is to be buried properly. So the Imam alayhi salam, he says, there were efforts, those who criticize you, those who sought to criticize you, they cannot diminish your virtue. When you look at the smear campaign that occurred after the death of the Prophet, I think you would be hard pressed to think of a single individual in human history who was targeted maliciously and who was character assassinated the way that Amir al-Mu'mineen was. In fact, there was a culture that was created after the death of the Prophet, after the death of Amir al-Mu'mineen, where people were cursing him qurbatan ila Allah ta'ala. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine how drastically life can change, where on the one hand you have someone who during the life of the Prophet they used to look at him in the same way a person would look at the stars. Amir al-Mu'mineen was incomparable to anyone. All of the Muslims, they owed their religion and their lives to Amir al-Mu'mineen. And then a few decades later, people are cursing you, seeking nearness to Allah through your la'na. Can you imagine that? So if you ever, there are so many lessons that we can learn from the life of Amir al-Mu'mineen, and I think one important lesson is that if you ever feel underappreciated, if you ever feel that you are not given your due right, Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, he is the most madloom in that regard. Amir al-Mu'mineen, not only was he not appreciated, he was vilified. The savior of Islam was treated as public enemy number one. In fact, there's a beautiful line, and this shows you that it's a miracle that despite these malicious smear campaigns, the virtues of Ali still reached us. Right? And this is a promise that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes. In Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَاللَّهُ مُخْرِجٌ مَا كُنْتُمْ تَكْتُمُونَ. People can try to cover up the truth. They can try to conceal the facts. But one of the policies of Allah is that eventually the truth will be uncovered. Eventually the truth will be known. There's a Basran poet. He's a grammarian and a poet, and he has a beautiful line about this fact that Amir al-Mu'mineen, he was smeared and there were attempts to conceal his virtues, but yet these virtues are celebrated generation after generation. So it says, سُئِلَ الْخَلِيلُ بْنُ أَحْمَدْ عَنْ أَمِيرِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Al-Khalil ibn Ahmad is this poet from Basra, this grammarian. So he was asked about Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib. What do you say about Ali ibn Abi Talib? And look at what he says. It's a beautiful line. He says, ماذا أقول في رجل أخفى أعداؤه فضائله حسدا. What can I say about a man whose enemies try to conceal his virtues out of jealousy? On one hand, his enemies, they did everything to cover up and to conceal his virtues. وَأَخْفَى مُحِبُّوهُ خَوْفًا وَأَخْفَاهَا مُحِبُّوهُ خَوْفًا. So you have two groups. One group hid the virtues of Ali out of jealousy. And the other, which is his enemies. And the lovers of Ali, they also hid his virtues. But it was because of a different motivation. They hid his virtues out of fear. Out of fear of being connected to him. Out of fear that they may be persecuted. So the lovers and the haters concealed his virtues. They hid them. وَظَهَرَ مِن بَيْنِ ذَيْنٍ وَذَيْنٍ مَا مَلَأَ الْخَافِقَيْنِ. But despite the concealment from both groups, his virtues fill the horizons. When we speak about Amir al-Mu'mineen, this is very important, brothers and sisters. This shows us, sometimes we worry a lot about, what people think about us. And to an extent we should. Our reputation is important. But sometimes you do your best. You're working sincerely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you have people who talk about you, who denigrate you. This aspect of Amir al-Mu'mineen's life teaches us that if you work purely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will take care of your reputation. Allah will take care of your reputation. Amir al-Mu'mineen, believe me, even if you were to hire the most powerful PR firm, they could not have restored the image and the reputation of Amir al-Mu'mineen like it would have happened naturally just by him being the sincere servant of God that he was. That's an important lesson for us. So when we go back to this ziyarah, Imam al-Hadi, he puts his finger on certain qualities of Ali that made him unique, that made him stand out. So Imam al-Hadi in Al-Ziyara al-Ghadeeriyah, he says, أَنْتَ أَحْسَنُ الْخَلْقِ عِبَادَةً. Imam al-Hadi, he says, you are the best of God's creation in worship. You know, this is the secret of Ali. All of those virtues that we admire about Ali, in fact, everything that we admire about Ali ibn Abi Talib, it stems from his relationship with Allah. His bravery, his wisdom, his steadfastness, his justice, all of that is a natural byproduct of his ibadah, his ubudiyyah. There's a narration that says that one of the companions of the Prophet, Abu Darda, he's a famous Sahabi. He says, I was sitting with a group of the companions of the Prophet, and we were speaking about the various virtues of a mu'min, and then the topic of ibadah came up. And each person would mention someone who they felt excelled in ibadah, in worship. So certain names were mentioned, and he said, I sat there quietly until it was my turn, and they asked me, who do you think is the best worshiper in the community of the Prophet? And he himself was respected for his piety and his righteousness. He says that if you ask me, there is no one who rivals Ali ibn Abi Talib in worship. So they asked him, why do you say that? He says, I'll share with you a story. Something that happened that I witnessed with my own eyes. So I'm not relying on someone's testimony. No, this is something that I've seen with my eyes about Ali, which tells me that he is matchless in the world of ibadah. He says, one night I went for a stroll in the outskirts of Medina. I was walking around, getting some fresh air, and suddenly in the orchards of Medina, I heard someone supplicating, someone who was engrossed in dua. He says, I came closer and I could recognize the voice, and it was the voice of Ali. Ali was out in the fields, in the orchards, and he was reciting dua. So as I was walking, I decided to stop and just listen. Ali had a very beautiful voice, and he recited with so much passion. He said, I heard him say the following lines. I heard him say, Ilahi, أفكر في عفوك فتهون علي خطيئتي. Oh Allah, my Lord, when I think of your forbearance and your forgiveness, my mistakes, my sins seem very small and trivial. ثم أذكر العظيم من أخذك فتعظم علي بليتي. But then on the other hand, I think about how severe you are in your retribution, and then I see and I realize the calamity that I am in. He says, Amir al-Mu'mineen was reciting, and I could hear that he was crying as he was supplicating. He says he was reciting, and he was reciting until the dua came to an abrupt stop. Suddenly there was no more recitation, and it stopped abruptly. He said, I walked a little bit closer because the moonlight helped me navigate through the orchard. فقال أبو الدرداء فأتيته فإذا هو كالخشبة الملقاة. He says, I came close and I saw that Ali was on the ground. He was stiff as a piece of wood, as a dry piece of wood. He was motionless. فحركته فلم يتحرك. I tried to shake him, to wake him up, but he was not responding. It was dark. He said, I panicked. And as I was rushing back, because now I have to go give the news to his family that Ali has expired, he has passed. So I was rushing back and I was saying to myself, Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un, mata wallah Ali ibn Abi Talib. I was saying to myself that to Allah we belong and to Him shall we return. Ali has died. He says, I rushed back and I knocked on the door of his house. His house was adjacent to the masjid. It was late. And I felt bad knocking on the door at such a late hour, but I have to tell them what happened. He says, I knocked on the door and Sayyidah Fatima alayhi salam, she answered. I greeted her and I did not know how to break the news to her, so I just told her what I saw. I said to her that I was in the outskirts of Medina and I saw your husband, I saw Ali supplicating by himself in the orchards. He was reciting and then he collapsed and I tried to wake him up. He was motionless, he was not responding, and I'm afraid that your husband has passed away. Fatima Zahra alayhi salam, she knows who she's married to. She knows her husband. She says to him, Oh Abu Darda, you don't have to worry. Hiya wallah ya Abu Darda al-ghashyatu allati ta'khudhuhu min khashyatillah. That what happened tonight, Fatima Zahra says to him, what happened tonight is not something that only happened tonight. This is something that happens to Ali every night. He becomes overwhelmed by the presence, by the majesty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is his condition. So Abu Darda, he says, going back to the companions that he's sitting with, he says, فَوَاللَّهِ مَا رَأَيْتُ ذَلِكَ لِأَحَدٍ مِّنْ أَصْحَابِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ. He says, I saw, there are many great worshippers among the companions, but I've never seen someone regularly faint when they stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now you might think that that's a bit extreme. No, brothers and sisters. We are the ones who are unusual. Ali is responding the way that a rational person should respond when they stand before the Lord of the world. The reason why we don't experience that is because we don't know who God is. We're oblivious. We are heedless of who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. Now the point of me sharing this story is not for us to just, celebrate this virtue of Ali. Ultimately, Amir al-Mu'mineen is meant to be that person that we look up to. Now, Allah doesn't expect us to faint when we pray. Allah knows our capacity. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does expect us to take our salah seriously, to take our ibadah seriously. That if we come in these nights and we listen to the life and the legacy of Ali, one of his legacies is the legacy of ibadah. So if there's anyone here that hasn't really focused too much on improving that aspect of their faith, tonight is the night. Right? Tonight is the night that you say that I'm going to try to be a little bit more like Ali ibn Abi Talib when it comes to my concern for ibadah. At the very least, my dear brothers and sisters, we shouldn't fall short in fulfilling our wajibat. And the hope is that we can go beyond just the bare minimum. Because one thing that we learned from Ali is that when it came to Islam, he never did the bare minimum. That's a very important lesson that we learn. That we should not be people who strive for mediocrity when it comes to Islam, when it comes to our faith. What made Ali Ali is that he was an overachiever in the world of ibadah. And this is something that we need to internalize. Another quality that is mentioned in the ziyarah is that Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, he says, addressing Amir al-Mu'mineen in al-Ziyarah al-Ghadeeriyah, he says, وَأَخْلَصِهِمْ زَهَادًا. Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, he also had this other quality. And that is that the Imam, he was indifferent about the material world. He lived in the dunya. He enjoyed the dunya, but the dunya never controlled him. You know, it's easy for you and I to say that we are zuhad, that we are ascetic people. But the reality is that many of us have never actually been tested with the dunya. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, during his khilafah, you know, you can tell a lot about a person when they ascend to the highest seat of power. You know, everyone can talk piety and righteousness when they don't have any power. But it's very different to maintain that piety when you have unlimited power. Amir al-Mu'mineen, when he was the Khalifa, and this is not an exaggeration, if you look on today's map, Amir al-Mu'mineen was the Khalifa of almost 50 countries on today's map. The tax revenue that was generated from these Muslim lands is something that's astronomical. When Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, when he became the Khalifa, right, in the political sense, when people recognized that, you know, he is the one who should lead, Ibn Abbas, and this is mentioned in Nahj al-Balagha, you know, after the assassination of Uthman, the Muslim community was a mess. It was complete anarchy. And there was a need for a very strong leader to unite the Muslims. And this is where everyone realized that no one can get us out of this mess other than Ali ibn Abi Talib. So, delegations from all around the Islamic empire, they came to give allegiance to Amir al-Mu'mineen. And usually this is, if you look at the history of prime minister and kings and emperors, this is usually a moment that you get to bask in the glory of power. Where people, they're extending their hand, and usually this is a moment that's very exciting for a leader. Ibn Abbas, what does he say? He says, and this is mentioned in Sermon 33 of Nahj al-Balagha, he says, دخلت على أمير المؤمنين. Ibn Abbas became the right-hand man of Amir al-Mu'mineen, especially during his khilafah. He says, I entered into his house, into his room. And people were waiting to meet. You have dignitaries, you have tribe leaders. They're waiting to give allegiance, to formally give their allegiance. He says, I entered the room to see what's the holdup. Is Amir al-Mu'mineen, is he putting on his best abaya? Is he trying to perfect his turban? What is he doing? He says, I saw him repairing his sandal. He was fixing the strap on his sandal. Ibn Abbas says, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, everyone is waiting. Amir al-Mu'mineen ignored his question. He looked at Ibn Abbas and he said, Ya Ibn Abbas, ما قيمة هذا النعل "O Ibn Abbas, what is the value of this sandal?" فَقُلْتُ لَا قِيمَةَ لَهَا. Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, it's a used sandal. I mean, if it wasn't yours, it's a used sandal. And it's a sandal that you had to also mend. If you were to take this sandal to the marketplace and sell it, I don't think anyone would buy it. It's valueless. Look at what Amir al-Mu'mineen says. He says, وَاللَّهِ لَهِيَ أَحَبُّ إِلَيَّ مِنْ إِمْرَتِكُمْ إِلَّا أَنْ أُقِيمَ حَقًّا أَوْ أَدْفَعَ بَاطِلًا. He says, I swear by God. And Amir al-Mu'mineen, who is As-Sadiq al-Amin himself, when he makes a qasam, we know that the Imam is not exaggerating. He says, I swear by Allah that this old sandal is more dear to me. It has more value to me than the entire Khilafah itself. Unless, when does political power have value in the eyes of Allah? Is if you use it to establish rights and address injustice. This is what gives Khilafah value. Now for us, my dear brothers and sisters, yes, you and I are not going to become the Khalifa. We're not going to preside and rule over an empire. But we have, each and every one of us, we have authority. You have authority over your kids. That authority comes with responsibility. You are accountable for the authority that you have over your kids. You are responsible. Yes, Allah has given you some authority over your spouse, your wife. Allah is also going to question you. That only has value. These positions only have value if you're using it to uphold haqq and to dispel batil. So we have to ask ourselves, are we just with the power that Allah has given us in our lives? Whether I am the president of a nation, or the president of a jama'ah, or I am a teacher who has authority over students, or I am a father or a mother, no matter who you are, Allah has given each and every one of us some power. And the question is, what are you going to do with this amana that Allah has given you? Because power, just like all blessings, these are blessings that come with accountability. They come with responsibility. And then, my dear brothers and sisters, I'll end with this. Another thing that Imam al-Hadi mentions about Amir al-Mu'mineen is that he says, وَأَذَبُّهُمْ عَنِ الدِّينِ. Amir al-Mu'mineen, there was no one who was more unwavering in his defense of Islam than Amir al-Mu'mineen. We have to have ghira over our religion. Defending Islam at the time of the Prophet, it required military defense. And Amir al-Mu'mineen, because that was the type of defense that was required, he was the first one. He was always at the front lines. Now, today, especially in this part of the world, our defense of Islam is not in the form of weapons. We have to be able to defend Islam intellectually. This is the way that we defend Islam. Because hundreds of millions of dollars are spent every year to smear this religion, to malign the character of the Prophet. So if you want to be a defender of Islam, the way that Ali defended Islam, you can't be ignorant. Ali ibn Abi Talib, he had his sword, the sword of Dhul Fiqar. But today, your sword, your Dhul Fiqar today is knowledge, is ilm, is taqwa. And therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, as we reflect on these virtues of Amir al-Mu'mineen, especially the last one, this is why Islamic schools are very important in our communities. Because I know a lot of people, they've gone to great schools, they've gone to Ivy League schools, and they're Muslim, but they are defenseless in the face of the enemies of Islam. They're helpless. What's the use? You learn everything, but you don't learn the most important thing. You don't learn who your Lord is. You don't learn what the purpose of life is. It's important that we do not go through life being defenseless people. And the way that you equip yourself is through the knowledge, by attending these programs, and most importantly, by paying attention to the environments that you put your children in. This is how we defend Islam, by building this strong identity and creating this culture of learning. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us and guide us and illuminate our hearts with the wilayah of Amir al-Mu'mineen. And we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the great ni'mah. Alhamdulillah alladhi ja'alana min al-mutamassikin بولاية أمير المؤمنين علي ibn Abi Talib صلوات الله عليه. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to honor us with His ziyarah in the holy city of Najaf. And most importantly, we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to crown us with His intercession, His shafa'ah on the day of judgment. يوم لا ينفع مال ولا بنون إلا من أتى الله بقلب سليم. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.
Thank you for the insightful lecture, Shaykh. We will have poetry in Urdu. If I can welcome, or let's welcome Brother Muhammad Yasin with 3 loud salawats. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Can I request Mu'mineen to come forward, please? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala
اللهم صل على محمد. خدا اور نبی کا جہاں ذکر ہوگا وہاں ہم پڑھیں گے قصیدہ علی کا. خدا اور نبی کا جہاں ذکر ہوگا وہاں ہم پڑھیں گے قصیدہ علی کا. قصیدہ میں ہوگی ولایت علی کی. قصیدہ میں ہوگی ولایت علی کی. چلے گا کلیجہ ادھر مولوی کا. علی سے مدد مانگنا مولوی جی یہ بدعت نہیں ہے یہ سنت نبی کی. سوالات کو بھی ضرورت پڑی تو مدد مانگنی سب نے نبی کے وصی کی. تو زہرا کے شوہر سے کیوں چل رہا ہے. تو زہرا کے شوہر سے کیوں چل رہا ہے. مزہ کچھ نہ آیا تیری زندگی کا. علی جیسا مومن علی جیسا عالم، علی جیسا عادل اگر ہے تو لاؤ، علی جیسا رہبر، علی جیسا زاہد، علی جیسا دنیا میں عابد دکھاؤ، جو بستر پہ سوئے تو خالق یہ کہہ دے، جو بستر پہ سوئے تو خالق یہ کہہ دے، بڑا لطف آیا تیری بندگی کا، خدا اور نبی کا جہاں ذکر ہوگا وہاں ہم پڑھیں گے قصیدہ علی کا، قصیدہ میں ہوگی ولایت علی کی، چلے گا کلیجہ ادھر مولوی کا، علی سے مدد مانگنا مولوی جی، یہ بدعت نہیں ہے یہ سنت نبی کی، سوالات کو بھی ضرورت پڑی تو مدد مانگنے سب نے نبی کے وصی کی، خدا اور نبی کا جہاں ذکر ہوگا وہاں ہم پڑھیں گے قصیدہ علی کا، صلو علی محمد و آل محمد۔
Thank you, Brother Muhammad Yasin. Let's welcome Brother Ali Rada Rashid for poetry in English. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa
For the love of Rasulullah and Amir al-Mu'mineen, please recite a loud salawat. Salli ala Muhammad. إمام المشارق والمغارب، أسد الله الغالب، غالب على كل غالب، مظهر الأجائب والغرائب، نقطة دائرة المطالب، مطلوب كل طالب، مولانا علي بن أبي طالب، علي علي مولا، علي علي مولا، علي علي مولا، علي 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 مولا، علي علي مولا، علي علي مولا، علي. Don't feel shy, brothers. علي علي مولا، علي علي مولا، علي علي مولا، علي 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 مولا، علي علي مولا. Love of Ali is a blessing Allah's given me. From my heart to my soul, Ali completely. He is the humble, giving at night so secretly. He is the generous who gives charity freely. He is the pure one, serving Allah sincerely. He is the pure one, serving Allah sincerely. He is the commander of the faithful Shi'i. Ali Ali Mawla, Ali Ali Mawla, Ali Ali Mawla, Ali 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 Mawla, Ali Ali Mawla, Ali 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 Mawla, Ali Mawla, Ali 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 Mawla, Ali, Ali, Mawla, Ali. He is the master born in the holy Kaaba. Peak of eloquence, author of Nahj al-Balagha. On the battlefield, such a brave warrior, saving Islam with his mighty Dhul-Fiqar. من كنت مولى فهذا علي مولى. من كنت مولى فهذا علي مولى. This is how Nabi describe our Haidar. Ali, Ali, Mawla, Ali, Ali, Mawla, Ali, Ali, Mawla, Ali. Ali, Ali, Mawla, Ali, Ali, Mawla, Ali, Ali, Mawla, Ali. Ali, Ali, Mawla, Mawla, Ali. Ali, Ali, Mawla, Mawla, Ali. Master in battle, you are Haydar Karrar. Bravest of men, you were the Lion of Allah. Constant support to our beloved Rasulullah. You stood up and proclaimed La ilaha illallah. Is there a fairer leader to follow, Ya Allah? Is there a fairer leader to follow, Ya Allah? We are the Shias of Ali, Subhanallah. Ali, Ali, Mawla. Ali, Ali, Mawla, Ali. More's coming, brothers. Ali, Ali, Mawla, Ali, Ali, Mawla, Ali. Ali, Ali, Mawla. Ali, Ali, Mawla, Ali. Ali, Ali, Mawla, Ali, Ali, Mawla, Ali, Ali, Mawla, Ali. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. Assalamu alaikum everyone and Eid Ghadeer Mubarak. It's okay. Inshallah, now we will have our Kahoot game. So if y'all can please take out your phones and scan the QR code or put in the number. I know the ladies' side probably there's a ton of sweets going about, but if y'all can also join in on the sister side, please do join the Kahoot game. The Wi-Fi is AMIA, Al-Mustafa guest, and it should be open for everyone. So. Does everyone have access to Wi-Fi and things like that? All okay? Yeah, those that have good network and y'all can connect on 5G or 4G or whatever, please connect on your data so you save some bandwidth for the others. The Wi-Fi name is AMIA guest. There should be no password, it should be open. At least that's what I was told. All right, there we go. Even on the sister's side, please, if y'all can join in. We have about 10 minutes for salah. No, actually 20 minutes. We're good. Just letting you know that there are some gifts for the Kahoot, so you should be competitive. There is some prizes going to be at the end of this. I have them in my pocket, so I know they're real. Also, parents, if you all have more than one child, please have them with you so you can do the game together. I promise you it's not very easy, so it'll even be challenging to the adults as well, hopefully, inshallah. Total of 15 questions. Yeah, if you guys want to even pair up, y'all can pair up and then split the split the prize after. All right, maybe I'll just give it another minute. We'll try to reach 50, 55. All right, let's just try 55 and I'll get started. All right, I'm going to get started. Can you guys all... No, I hear a no. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. All right, everyone, please do pay attention. I'm going to start the game. You have 20 seconds per question. I will read out the question, but I promise it's better if you do it without me reading it. All right, I'm going to start in 3, 2, 1. Bismillah. Oh, it's duplicate. All right. First question, which Eid is also known as Eid al-Akbar, which is also the greatest Eid? Eid Mubahila, Eid Fitr, Eid al-Adha, or Eid al-Ghadeer? All right, 10 seconds. Okay, the right answer is Eid al-Ghadeer. Today is Eid al-Ghadeer, which is also known as Eid al-Akbar, the greatest Eid. And we have Noodle Oodle. Nice. All right, next question. In what year did the event of Ghadeer happen? This is the Islamic year. Which Hijri year did Eid al-Ghadeer happen? We have 9, 15, 8, or 10. All right. 10 Hijri. Yes, that's correct. Okay. Next question. Ooh, Mishan Zainab. Nice. Okay. What does the word Ghadeer mean? Does it mean a barren land, land of brothers, a big mountain, or a pond and lake? Ooh, nice. Yes. Ghadeer also means the pond or a lake. Let's see the scoreboard. Ah, Mahmoud. Oh, someone's being competitive now. All right. Which ayah of the Holy Quran was revealed to the Prophet regarding the event of Ghadeer? Which surah and ayah number? The Surah Qasas, ayah 5, Surah Ma'idah, 67, Surah Ahzab 33, or Surah Ali Imran 61. Ooh, nice. Bonus points for anyone who knows what the ayah is in Arabic. Yes. No, actually, no. No. That's not right. No. Anyone knows the ayah? Which ayah was revealed to the Prophet before Ghadeer? Home. You guys got the question right. Yes, exactly. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ya ayyuhar rasul balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik wa illam taf'al fama ballaghta risalatahu wallahu ya'simukum minan nas inna Allah la yahdi al-qawm al-kafirin. O messenger, announce that which has been revealed to you from your Lord, and if you do not, then you have not conveyed his message. All right. Let's see who got this right. Ooh, every question it's changing, huh? I like this. Who compiled Nahj al-Balagha? This should be relatively easy. One second. Yeah, I need to. Okay, so Shaykh Abbas al-Qummi is the second highest. Anyone knows which book he has written, compiled? Yes, Mafati al-Jinan, not Nahj al-Balagha. Okay, nice. Next question. In addition to letters and sayings, what else does Nahj al-Balagha contain? Is it majalis? Is it nasheeds? Is it tafsir of Quran? Poems? Sermons? Definitely, yes, that's right. Okay. How many days did the ceremony of Ghadeer last? Was it just one day or was it more than one day? And if more than one day, how many? No, not business days. Work days, normal work days. All right, 3 days was total for either Ghadeer or the ceremony of Ghadeer. Okay, what is the significance of the place of Ghadeer Qum? Why was Ghadeer Qum so important, or what was so important about the place? Was it just because it had a lot of resources, had a lot of trees, so people could gather and it was not very hot? Or was it the last place where people could meet? Or was there a hill for the pulpit? Yes. So actually, interesting story is that there was no hill, and the pulpit that was basically used by the Prophet was a makeshift of saddles and a bunch of other things that the people put together for the Prophet. So it's actually the last place where all the people would meet before taking different routes. Ooh, okay. So there were some people that already left. What did the Prophet ask to be done about those people that left Ghadeer Qum? Did they let them just go home, call them back? Did nothing? Or they sent a horse and like, okay, just update them of what's going on? All right. Yeah, there was no horse. Okay, there is a scholar known as Ayatollah Amin or Allama Amini. He has written a book that contains 11 volumes. What is that series called? Is it Mafati al-Jinan, Tafsir al-Mizan, Mubahila, or Al-Ghadeer? What is the name of the book? Oh, there we go. Yes. Not Tafsir al-Mizan by Allama Tabatabai. Okay, cool. So this should be an easy one, in which battle did Imam alayhi salam lift the big doors of a city? Battle of Khandak, Battle of Khaybar, Battle of Uhud, or Battle of Siffin? Yes, Battle of Khaybar. Okay, last three questions. How many children did Imam Ali alayhi salam have? 5, 15, 19, or 27 children? This is the third last question. Ooh, this is gonna make the leaderboard go all walk. Oh, not really. Nice. Okay, second. Which prophets were buried with Imam Ali alayhi salam in Najaf? Prophet Isa and Prophet Ibrahim, Prophet Adam and Prophet Ibrahim, Prophet Musa and Prophet Nuh, Prophet Adam and Prophet Noah. Yes. Nabi Adam and Nabi Nuh are also buried in Najaf with Imam Ali alayhi salam. Oh, Fatima is really killing it. Okay, second last question at Ghadeer. The Prophet mentioned the hadith of Thaqalain, which is the two weighty things. What are these two weighty things? Is it gold and iron? Is it Quran and Sunnah? Quran and Ahl al-Bayt? Hadith and Ahl al-Bayt? I think gold and iron, right? Ahsant, yes, the Quran and the Ahl al-Bayt. Okay, last question. Very, very. Now this is just a matter of. Okay, should be very easy. What was the famous line the Prophet said on the day of Ghadeer? Yeah, I mean this is in English, so. Come on, did he select the wrong one? Right? In Arabic, what's it? Man kuntu mawla aliyun mawla. Okay. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Okay, so as I promised, there will be prizes. So let's see what's the podium looking like. Okay, at number 3, Samar Abbas. MashaAllah. Number 2, Fatima. And number 1, Ya Ali. Nare Haydari. Okay, Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So, Ya Ali, can you show yourself? No? Who is Ya Ali? Is anyone from the ladies section? Ya Ali? Okay. And then Fatima as well? Okay. So I'll just hand this over to you.
Gets to have one, right?
Yeah.
He was third.
So that's 1 and 2. Yeah, it's written on top, 1 or 2. Alright, I think that's all. Anything else? Okay, Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. If we can keep the sisters, especially our young brothers and sisters, with a very loud salawat. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم محمد. With permission of our beloved scholars, my elders, brothers and sisters, I'm going to share a few moments with you regarding the project. I'm sure you heard about it, but let's make it to the detail that at least you can see the conceptual plan that we have, what is going to happen, what is the process, the cost, and renovation. And at the end, we would be your servants, so please do come to us. Phone us anytime if you have any suggestions, any feedback, that inshallah we can work and get this. So let me clear up the few information. This location that you're sitting is called prayer hall. That location that we are, gym. The prayer hall currently has an occupancy permit for 200 or more, close to 300. The gym has a zone of 50 students. So when we see on the slide that, what is the current zone and what is the future zone that we are applying and what is the process, this is what I'm going to speak to you today. And then I'm going to share you a bit about the cost of information, but I give you a cautious that what we know now and inshallah what we find out soon. So I hope that they can get the projector ready. So while we do it, I have 1 minute. Last night and last few days I was reflecting on the importance of today. Ahamiyat, arzish. What is the most important? Like you look at something and you try to compare and say, what is more important today? On reflection that I had in my mind, I could only see a few days that it stands comparison in elevation or important of today. It's just a few days in our Islamic or mankind calendar. One day was Bi'isat. It's a kickstart of this religion. And with the verses of the Holy Prophet, it was only completed because of introduction of Imam Ali. So today is a very important, it's a blessing day, not just for Shia, for mankind. And the more we go in future, the more we know the benefit of having Khalifatullah in our life. So let's start to our main things. So this whole PowerPoint presentation would be about this Al-Mustafa project. So this is what we need to clarify. Currently, we have a zone for the school. Main concern is the school for 50 students. Our goal is that we need to get 150 students. And for City of Surrey, it's very important how many parking lots you need. So we need 8 staff. We have to be very clear with City. In addition to that, we do not touch daycare. So part of this application, daycare is standing independently, a separate building as it stands outside. So next, Omid. Okay, so as you see, we're going to add up a second floor in this building, a second floor in the gym. So addition of a second floor, the height of the building, it would be exactly as you see the ceiling, would be as this one. And the same is, what you see in that room. I guess I call it Shaykh Hasad's room, the principal office. That's the same height. So next one. So that is what we have now currently. We have the gym, the prayer hall, and the hallway that we have the bathrooms, so-called the hallway that we use, and then one grate that we have. Now, this is our current. The next one. Next, Umid. Okay. So now, addition, as you see, we're going to add one more floor in each location, in both sides. So addition of second, this side, and second on that side. Now, next slide. Okay. Now you see that there would be some changes in the hallway. I couldn't get the picture very clearly. So this one would be added second floor. You see there is an elevator in both sides. So there would be stairs going this side, stairs going this side, and we have to have one elevator in this building. The same is in the gym side, we have 2 stairs going up to the second floor, and we have to have some kind of elevator in the building. Inshallah, that comes in more details, but this is the proposed plan to City of Surrey. Okay, now as you see, the stairs was a bit more clear, both sides, and it's in the gym side, this is where the important changes happens. This is where we add 6 classes. As we know, for each class you need storage, locker, for the teachers, and the stairs was going to the second floor and a hallway, which is about 5 feet. Inshallah, you will see more conceptual 3D design as soon as we get approved from City of Surrey and we have the architectural drawing. So inshallah, we will come with those drawings soon. So that is basically, it gives you an idea that we have stairways from here, the stairways from this entrance. The one condition that we have, because this is the heritage building, like this where you're sitting now, we cannot make any changes outside. In fact, if you were to suggest like open a door, just for example, it would completely change the process of application. It would delay it for months, if not years. So we make no external changes. Outside, you see exactly as you see, other than minor paint, minor window changes that we may try to do it. These windows we would try to get changed to the new, so-called aluminum. But this, inshallah, we'll talk to city once our application is processed. So no changes to outside, addition of second floor, and changes in the hallway. One thing is that in this hallway, from beginning where the class is now to the end of the hallway, we would have cafeteria, admin office, and so-called an electric room, and the boys and the girls or the brothers and the sister bathrooms. Depends what we do. In the school time, it's boys and girls bathroom. In the nighttime, inshallah, when we have the program, this would be done. Now, the question may come to you, what happens to the major programs? When events like today, the sisters would be going upstairs, the brother would be going downstairs. So we try to think about everything so that how we can use this building most effectively and most of the time. Yeah. So now the next one. So now, we divided this in 3 phases. And this is just because the question we had. Phase number 1 would be we just work on the prayer hall because we cannot stop school. We continue school. Phase number 2 would be main hallway that we add cafeteria, the bathrooms, and an office, admin office. And phase number 3 would be the work in the gym area. And each one would be separately. So let's say we start January, finish this by June, and let's say in summer we would do the main hallway, the bathrooms and the cafeteria, and inshallah, phase number 3, which would be next year, it would be the gym. So would be no disruption in school. And the next slide. Okay, now this is the point I like to make sure you pay attention. So pending on the final approval from City of Surrey, we submitted, it's gone, we complied with all requirement. We do inquire code from engineering now. We want to get the best estimate. What would be the cost of renovation for this building? So we need a structural, mechanical, electrical, and geotechnical engineer in addition to architect. So we want to get a quote from them and see how much would it cost for us to design this building. Once we have the drawing, then what we do is we take those drawings, it's approved by City of Surrey, it's called take off. We take it to the professional and say, now we are building this much, how much would it cost for cost of material, labor, to finish this building? And once we have this, this would allow us, the Al-Mustafa trustees, to find out what the exact cost of professional fees would be, which would be approved, than the cost of renovation. And that cost that I have, it would be very close to what we do it, as long as we do it in the same year. Next slide. So, now, how much we spent so far? So far, we spent around $60,000 just to get the permit, the conceptual drawing, city fees, engineers' fees, and others' fees, to where we are now. Application is submitted, city reviewed, inshallah, most likely we get approval. So we need about $40,000 for electrical and mechanical engineers. That's the 2 fees that we need to pay for doing the final drawing. We need about $12,000, give and take $12,500 with GST, everything included, for a structural drawing, because you need a structural engineer in this building. I haven't found the architectural cost yet, professional fee. I have not found the geotechnical fee because we need to do a geotechnical study. A geotechnical study needs about $5,000 or more. Depends how many holes they have, how deep they go. And then the cost of fee. Anytime that you apply for a permit, there is a fee from City of Surrey. So now, so far, this is what we know. We could be wrong. We could be coming with different message tomorrow. To do such a building, renovation, it's a $2 million or more. Okay? Inshallah, what we have, once we have all the above information, we have the final drawing from City of Surrey. Inshallah, we'll present the main cost to you. And if we do it within the same year, plus and minus 10%, because it's always things that you didn't plan for it. So now, where are we going? Our goal is to, inshallah, come to every one of us. And even as little as $5 or $50 or $10,000 or $80,000. And even there is a discussion that, inshallah, we need to get approval from Shaykh Murtaza and the trustees that some classes could be, designated to a marhum name. Instead of having class A, B, C, we can have a marhum name and say this is marhum such, and we can designate the class to that name. Inshallah, this would come when we do the other steps. But inshallah, we'd like you to help us. We all know that in City of Surrey, we need a school. Alhamdulillah, the school, as far as I know, they have registered 50 students. That's cap. We can't have any more students. And you see the demand is day by day increasing. We really need to have 150 students. So by you contributing to this project, not only you are part of the Sawab, but any future help that comes from this youth that becomes, a follower of Ahlul Bayt, inshallah, you would be part of Sawab Jariyah. What is very important, and this is what we need to really reflect, this is the only school that you have scholars leading it and a scholars principal. And they're very focused to have teachers from our faith, following the same sunnah of the Holy Prophet. So this is a great project to be part of it, great project to be contributing. And inshallah, be sure that any contribution to do it, it's going to go for a long life. You can do donation in PayPal. We would send it frequently. You can do e-transfer. And inshallah, make sure when you donate and say, project of renovation. So we know that we have a sub-account specifically designed for capital investment and this project. So let us pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us, all of us, to be part of such a great project. And inshallah, be one of those that inshallah we would make sure that our next generation has a place to go and study under the leadership of a scholar of our town or scholars that is connected to a hawza. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us tawfiq, to accept all our good deeds and make sure that inshallah, when the time comes that we depart, He's pleased with us. So I welcome our next person who does the azan with the loud salawat.
سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا